Hey guys, in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a makeup tutorial on this. This is my current go-to ultra bronzy sultry makeup look. So I'm wearing a ton of new products from the Desixkaty collection that we created with Dose of Colors. I have shadows on, I have highlighter, I have lipstick, lip gloss. I also tried out the new ColourPop No Filter Concealer. So yeah, this has been like my go-to bronzy look lately. It's very sultry. I've been wearing it to events. I just feel like it's like, you know, it's bronzy, but it's a little smoky. It's kind of got a little bit of everything going on, and I really love it. So I wanted to recreate it for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start by priming my lids, and I'm still using the Tarte Shape Tape, shade Light Medium, to prime. All right, and then you gotta hurry up and set your lids, is what I've learned, because sometimes it'll crease right here on me and then shadow won't stick in that area. So I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is in the shade 2 Medium. Oh boy. Oh boy, Zoe's probably gonna start barking in a second. And for eyeshadow, I'm gonna use the Makeup Geek in the Nude palette. This is a fairly new palette, but I really like the brown tones in here. I feel like this could be a Life palette. The tones are very similar. The first shade, I'm gonna use Creased. This color right here, and a NYX number 32 brush. I've been like obsessed with this brush lately, and I've been doing my eyeshadow shape a little bit different. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, I've been doing winged liner a lot. When I do my eyeshadow now, I leave my eye open instead of closing it, and I used to do my eyeshadow like with my eye like this, and I would stick it directly in the crease, but it wasn't really working for me, and I was very discouraged on doing eye makeup. So now I just leave my eye open. It's kind of hitting my brow bone, and this is kind of a lot higher than what I used to do. I would take this color and put it a lot lower and bring it all the way into the brow bone in the inner corner. Need a little Rita Hazan, huh? For some reason, a lot of my favorite crease transition colors, I swear they've been turning like purple on me. I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, but sometimes I'm like, does it just turn purple? So this one is like a good warm brown. I think it's because I use a lot of neutral browns, and for some reason they've just been turning purple, but this is a good one. It's like nice and warm without being too orangey, like Caramel from ABH. All right, next shade I'm gonna go in with is Cabin Fever. This color right here, very dark chocolatey brown. And I'm using a Morphe G18 brush. It's, I don't even know how to describe it. I stole it from Desi's house, and it works really good for like my outer corner of my eye. I have an autofocus camera now, so I can do those things. All right, so I'm taking some of the brown Cabin Fever on the brush, and I'm gonna be taking it, you can see there's like almost a shadow right here, like right there, and then about halfway onto the lid. This is the part that like always skips for some reason. I literally have to go in with like a smaller brush. I'm gonna go in with the Luxie 231 and pack creased in here. It doesn't want to stay. I don't know why. There we go. And then Cabin Fever on top. I'm gonna add some dark roast, just pretty much just directly on top of it. Then I'm gonna come back in with my NYX brush and just buff it out. All right, going back in with the NYX brush, I'm gonna give it another once over. I'm bringing the shadow all the way down to the inner corner. All right, next step is one of my favorite parts about doing this eyeshadow look, which is adding Noli to the lid. This is our Dose of Colors eyeshadow palette that Desi and I created. And I'm gonna be taking the bronzy color. This is Noli from the palette. It is the best bronze ever. I am so excited about this bronze eyeshadow because I feel like it kind of gives me a smoky eye when I put it on all over my lid, but it's not too dark and it doesn't make my eyes look too heavy. So to use this shadow, you'd use your finger. I recommend 100% use all of these shadows with your finger. You're gonna get the best outcome. The only time I don't use a brush is when I use a little bit of Suze on the inner corner, which I'll show you guys because I'm gonna use that too. So you just take it on your finger, and Noli is a dry formula, so you do not have to use this one wet, and you just smear it on the lid. Pack it, smear it, boom. So I'm putting it all over the lid up until the outer corner, kind of layering it on top of the darker brown and all the way up until the inner corner of the eye. So I'm gonna take our highlighter. This is Fuego, which is the more champagne-y gold color. And I'm gonna use a blending brush. This is a Smith 230. Pretty fluffy blending brush, and I'm gonna take a little bit of Fuego and add it to the inner corner of the eye, like kind of all over, more of like a diffused look. And now I'm gonna use Suze on the lid for like a really bam, in your face inner corner highlight. Suze and Harpoon, these two shadows are wet formulas. You need to use them wet. If you don't use them wet, you're gonna have fallout. So just use water. You don't need Fix Plus or any special primer or anything like that, just water. And this is the only time I ever use these shadows with a brush, which is for this color right here on the inner corner, which is a pencil brush. This is a Sigma E30. I'm gonna dip the pencil brush into a little bit of water and then dip it into Suze, and then I'm just gonna basically punch it on my Next, I'm gonna do like a faux kind of winged eyeshadow, or a faux wing, using Rich Brown. This is from ABH. It's like the darkest brown that I have before it gets to black. And a Zoeva 317 brush. And I just do like a little pretend kind of wing. Just that way it gives me the shape, but it's not gonna have the intensity as an actual winged eyeliner. So again, I do this with my eye open. Just a faux wing. You know, it's one of those, like, I would like to have a wing, but I just don't have the time to do that right now. And I just take it to like right here, just the outer quarter of the eye, and kind of buff it so it looks a little bit more diffused. And then, you know, I like to do my black liner on the lid, just on the top lash line. And you know, I've been using the Kat Von D tattoo liner lately, the Black Trooper one. I haven't been using Inglot at all, which I know is very surprising. For some reason, this all of a sudden got easier for me to use, and it actually comes off at night, which is really nice. It doesn't stay in my lash line forever. And I was starting to think that, I don't know if it's Duraline is making my lash line irritated. So I figured I'll just use this as often as I can. So I'm just gonna do a black line to cover up my lash band. And then I want to intensify the liner a little bit more, and I'm totally hunched over right now. It's easier for me for some reason to do liner this way. But I'm gonna add some black eyeshadow with that same brush and just kind of try and smudge it on top of the dark brown. All right, so now for lashes. I'm gonna use my Queen Bees. But isn't this a cute little lash case? I can actually use this lash case. The only other lash holder that I've ever seen is like a big pink thing, and I can't. But I really like this one. It just holds my bees. So I'm gonna be putting these on using the Tarte lash glue. I'm still using the Tarte lash glue, but this is the clear one. Forgot to tightline my eyes because I have been doing that. Especially with this look, I feel like it makes it a little bit more smoldery. So I'm gonna do it on the right side. I'll do it on this side once it finishes like drying all the way. This is the LA Girl gel liner in the color Very Black. Yes. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to my face. And I'm using a different foundation today. This is, well, I've used this many times before. This is the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in the shade number 6. 205, my Pro Glow, it still looks good, but in flash photos, it seems like my face looks a lot lighter than the rest of my body. So I like to use the Armani Luminous Silk shade number 6. So I'm gonna put this pretty much on the whole outside, actually pretty much my entire face, except right here, I am still gonna use the Pro Glow, just because my face is still a lot lighter than the rest of my body. Just using my Beauty Blender. All right, so I have the Luminous Silk all around my face, and then just right here on the center, I do the Pro Glow, L'Oreal Pro Glow. It has been very hot outside to be wearing Pro Glow, but you know, I still do it anyway. Sometimes I even do Pro Matte just on my nose, which I think I've shown you guys before. I just do all sorts of cocktails of foundation. If it works, it works. Today I'm going to be trying out the ColourPop, the new ColourPop concealer. This is the No Filter concealer in the shade Light 20. I tested out Gold 40 and Beige 25 on my hand to see what was most similar to the Shape Tape Light Medium, because I feel like that's a really good shade for me. And Golden was a really, really pretty color, but it was a little bit too dark and golden for me. And then beige was pretty pink and actually a little bit too dark. So light 20 was like very, very close. It was just a little bit more yellow, which I'm okay with. So let's try this out. Just from what I swatched on my hand, it has like really full coverage and it's very creamy. So we'll see how it performs under the eyes. Woo! Wow. Dang. That has like really, really good coverage. Love, absolutely love the color. It's super bright. John said it made my cheekbones pop. I like that. Shape Tape's got some competition right now. Of course, we have to see how it wears throughout the day, but it does feel like when I just blended it out, I feel like it was a little bit creamier, like less thick than Shape Tape, which I think is what a lot of people are looking for. I'm just gonna use a tiny bit. This is 20. I feel like if I use too much, it'll be like hella bright, you know? I'm just gonna take a little bit of my RCMA powder and dust it on the lower lid. All right, next is to highlight, and I'm gonna be using the Fuego highlighter, and this is a Smashbox fan brush. This is like my favorite brush, highlighting brush to use still. You know what I like to do with the highlight too? So I put it on with a fan brush, and then I'll take, what is this? This is a contour brush from Real Techniques, and some of the highlighter, and I just pat it right here. Just that way, when you hit the light, it just looks extra dewy. And for blush, I'm gonna try out this blush from Flower. This is a Flower Pop Powder Blush Peach Primrose. You know, I love my peach blushes. Ooh, that is pigmented. It's like a super pigmented blush, but it is really pretty. All right, now to contour the nose, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Master Bronze and Highlight Kit, number 10. And I'm gonna use this shade right here. The rest of them are pretty shimmery, so this one, and this is just Lab Squared, just blending in eyeshadow brush. I don't know why, when I contour right there, it just makes me like so happy. I'm investigating this ColourPop concealer. It still seems pretty good to me. Dang, girl. I'm gonna come back in with some more of my Fuego highlight. This is what I do. I literally just keep layering it on. Where are you, Fuego? So after I put my blush on, I even just put a little bit more on using the Real Techniques contour brush right here. See? So when you smile, you just look extra glossy. And then a little bit on the nose. And with this foundation, because it is a little bit more bronzy, I don't use any powder bronzer on the rest of my face. I just leave it. And I also like the way how it looks a little bit more dewy. So I'm considering finding like a cream bronzer, but I'm not gonna rush into it. But it's on my brain in case anybody was wondering. Anyway, next step is to finish up the lower lash line. So I'm gonna come back in with that Makeup Geek palette and the creased color. And this is a City Color CC EO7. I use this brush for like so many different things. But I'm gonna take this shadow and dust it on like the lower half, the lower lash line, outer half. All right, so I do it just like maybe 3/4 of the way in. And then I'm gonna come in with, I'm actually gonna use Dark Roast. I really like this color. And I'm gonna stick it in the lower crease of the lower lash line. And then with a flat brush, I'm gonna take the dark brown in the palette and smudge it up against the lash line. I'm also gonna add black in the waterline, which is not something I do very often anymore, but I feel like with this look, it just makes it very va-va-voom. I'm actually gonna use Rich Brown from ABH to add to the lower lash line. I feel like this one's a little bit darker than the Makeup Geek one. Whenever I get stressed and tense, these things like just, that's where I hold all my tension, like most people do, but they're like on some super swole shit right now and I need it to go away. Anyway, so I'm gonna add some mascara to my lower lashes. This is the Buxom Big T's mascara in the shade Blackest Black. All right, so I'm gonna line my lips with MAC Oak lip liner. Even though I got lip balm on, I was like, okay. So now I'm gonna use our No Shade lipstick. This is the lighter lipstick that we have in our collection. One of my favorite nudes. So this lipstick leans towards a matte finish, regular lipstick. It's not matte like a liquid lipstick, but it's more of like a comfortable wearing matte. And I'm gonna be adding our lip gloss on top, which is our over-the-top lip gloss, which has tons of reflection in it, like goldish reflection. Whenever I wear this lip gloss, I just wanna be like, you know? I love, love, love this lipstick shade, No Shade, and I love our over-the-top gloss. I feel like such a good combination. I'm so happy that we were able to create a lip gloss that was actually glossy and glitter. I feel like so many glosses are either one or the other. Like you can't, if it's too glittery, it's not glossy, and if it's glossy, it's not glittery. But we happened to create a concoction where it was both, and I am obsessed with it. I feel like it's super glossy. I'm gonna show you guys what More Creamer Please looks like also. No Shade is a little bit lighter and a little bit more peachy. More Creamer Please it's still peachy, it's warm, but it's definitely got more of like a brown base. I love this nude too. It just gives like a different vibe, you know? I live for both of them. Let me put some of the over-the-top gloss on here. All right, so that wraps up the tutorial today, my go-to bronzy makeup look. If you wanna see details on the launch of our collection, you can check the description box down below. It launches August 14th. We're so excited. That wraps up this tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.